I need everyone's participation for this. My name is Rubik's. And I'm going to start with you guys first. When I point to you guys, I need you to say big. 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 Louder than that. Yeah. Even louder. You sound like Girl Scouts. Yes. Now for you guys, you're the biggest row. I expect you to be the loudest. I need you guys to say horn. Ready? Horn! 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 I need louder than that. Horn! Good. I need all of you guys to say ranch. Ready?
That's why you were able to say
Does everyone know what they're doing?
R-E-D, ranch?
Ranch.
Oh, ranch.
Oh, I thought they say flash. There is ranch.
Hello, the camp. My name be Pops. And I've been coming to this valley for about 50 years, I guess. A lot of people have been coming here. Heard the noise you was making. Wanted to see what was going on. People have been coming up here to this valley for thousands of years. Indians came up from down below when it started to get hot. They had it kind of good down below. There's a spring down there, water comes out of it. Part of the spring comes out hot, part of it comes out cold. Up in the mountainside up above it, there's a shape that looks like an arrowhead. It's still giving water, and people are still picking that water up and using it. But when it got hot down below, they'd start coming up here. They came up for several reasons. The next valley over here had a meadow in it. And there was lots of game. There were deer, and there were bear, there were bighorn sheep, even some beaver. Next valley up, they called the Valley of the Big Bear. It had grizz in it. Didn't kill the last grizz off until 1954. We got a pair of bears that live on our property right now. You may see them tonight. The Indians came up here for a lot of reasons. They came up because it was quiet, it was cool. Down in the valley, it'd get up around 100 during the summer, and they'd come up here. But there was another reason. They come up here because it was quiet, and they felt that they was close to the Great Spirit. Why, you could sit up here just like on a night like tonight and listen to the wind blow through the trees. And a little later on, there's going to be almost a full moon, and it'll be so bright that you'll be able to see colors. I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but at night, when there's no light, you can't see colors, you just see grays. But when the moon's full enough, you can start to see the browns and the yellows. And the Indians felt that they were close to the Great Spirit. And the hunting was good and it was cool, and they spent their time up here. And things were pretty good. Then in the 1500s, Spanish came up the coast. They come up from old Mexico, and they built missions. And they built one of those missions right down below. And they used some of the water from that arrowhead-shaped spring to irrigate the orange trees that they brought over from Spain. And they got the Indians to work for them. But they got frustrated. They got mad because during the summer the Indians weren't dumb. They'd be down there in the heat and the Indians would come up here. And things stayed pretty much the same. People would come up here and hunt a little bit, but not too much. The Indians would come up and they'd live during the summer. Then by the 1700s, word started to get out about what was up here, and more people come. Why, a man by the name of Jedediah Smith up in Northern California had a trading company. And they brought the trading company down here. And they come over to the Valley of the Little Bear over here, and they traded for pelts. Why, there was even supposed to have been a battle that happened up here between the Indians and the traders. I think probably what happened was that the Indians and the traders had too much of that liquor and started throwing rocks at each other. But anyway, in one of the journals, there's a record of a battle in the Valley of the Little Bear. Old Kit Carson brought John Fremont down into California. And he come up here, we think he come up here because he talks about that arrowhead-shaped spring. And he talks about the Valley of the Little Bear being so green. And things started to change a little bit. More people started to come in. By the 1840s, there was a war going on between Mexico and the United States. And they drafted a bunch of them Mormons in Illinois and formed them into a battalion. And they walked all the way from Illinois clear down to San Diego. Longest march in U.S. military history, I understand. Funny thing was that by the time they got down to San Diego, guess what happened? War was over. So they took off and they meandered up the coast, and a bunch of them Mormons from that Mormon battalion meandered up the coast, and they went through San Bernardino, and they seen the orange groves, and they made a note of it in their journal, and they made it all the way up to the city of the Queen of the Angels up there. And there was a fort there, and they hoisted the first American flag over Los Angeles, but they didn't stay. They kept going on up the coast. They ended up in Sacramento and the gold rush, and then back to Utah. And when they got back there to Utah, they told that Brigham Young fellow about what they'd seen. Told him about the mountains with all the trees in it and the game, and about that spring that was running water. So in May of one year, they sent some of them Mormons. They must have been kind of peculiar people, because they sent them, they told them to go over to this place down below us here, and they did. They started walking from St. George, Utah, and they walked all the way across the desert in the middle of the summer. Only thing was out there was a little spring there at Las Vegas. And they walked all the way from St. George. They arrived down in San Bernardino somewhere around the middle of August. That's quite a walk if you think about it. You can drive it now in about 7 or 8 hours, but can you imagine walking it and pulling a wagon? Anyway, they made it to San Bernardino, and they started building up some stuff. They dug a canal from that Arrowhead Spring down to where the orange groves were. And they looked up in the mountains, and they saw the trees, and they needed lumber. They built a road. If you come up from San Bernardino today, you drove right by it. There's a sign there that says Mormon Road. They built a road, came almost all the way up here, and built a sawmill, and they started cutting down big trees. They sold the lumber and built houses. They laid out the streets down there in San Bernardino. If you take a look at San Bernardino, all the streets go from one side of town to the other, and they all go either east or west or north or south. And the numbers start right from the center of town. Well, anyway, all of a sudden something happened back there in that Utah place, and they took off and left. But they left the sawmill, and they left the streets, And other people took over the idea of cutting down trees. They also got the idea that the oranges were prospering because of the canal that they dug, and they started planting more orange trees down below, and they built more sawmills. Why, there was one of them that was here and it was still operating in 1958, right over where you checked in today. You know that parking lot you parked in when you checked in today? There was a sawmill there, clear up until about 1963, I think. And they was cutting down trees. But by about 1890, 1900, there wasn't a tree left big as round as your leg, all the way from Cajon Pass down to White Rock. They'd cut all them trees down. What do you think happened to the animals? They split. They left. They didn't want to stay here. Can you imagine what these mountains would look like with no tree big around as your leg in it? Not much here. But they did need water for the sawmill, so they dug 4 big holes. One of them was right over there. You walked right by it. Probably didn't even know it was there. The big mound of dirt there now, and right below it there's a little hole. That hole went down about 75 feet, and they dug a channel, a tunnel that went all the way from right here clear over to the Valley of the Little Bear. They dug 4 of them. 2 of them are on our property. And they got water. Water from that spring right there is still flowing into Arrowhead Lake. And they floated the logs in it, and they took some of the water and they ran it down to the hill because they was growing more orange trees. Why, they say that in 1900, if you was up here, you could smell the orange blossoms for 2 or 3 weeks in the spring, clear up here. They needed more water, and they went over to the Valley of the Big Bear over there, and they built a dam, and they used that water to grow more orange trees down below. Well, when the timber ran out, the logging operation kind of stopped. And people started coming up here, and they saw the lakes, and they come up here to do that recreating stuff. And it was pretty. And one of the things they noticed was that on a night like this, if you sit here without these big lights on, and you listen to the wind in the trees, and you look at the stars, it's kind of a special place. So they started planting more trees, and the trees come back. But we've had fires. Why, right here on this property in 2003, we had a fire come down, burn down most of the camp. All the big trees. If you drove in, or when you're walking around, you'll see big stumps that are big enough around you can't get your arm around them. Those were all burned down in 2003. But it wasn't near the damage that they did when they had the sawmills up here. Well, anyway, the forest started coming back, and when the forest started coming back, the animals started coming back. 1954, a man by the name of Sorry Sorensen come up here. He was one of them Boy Scout people down below. I understand you folks are one of them Boy Scouts. Oh, Sorry come up here, and he saw this place, and he thought that it was kind of special. And he thought maybe kids from the city would like to come up. There weren't no roads. Why, you had to walk in from Cedar Glen. But them scouts, I understand, like to do that backpacking stuff. So they bought some land and they started a camp. In 1954, 1955, a man by the name of Van Vincent, one of them scouter guys, brought in the first propane bottle of hot water. And the camp started to grow. And more people started coming up here, and more people started coming up. We ended up with 4 camps here. Our property goes all the way from the other side of this ridge clear up to Highway 18. 2,200 acres. All the way from other side of this ridge all the way up to the top of the highway up there. Goes from Santa's Village all the way to Pally Mountain outside of Running Springs. Big piece of land. Lots of trees, lots of animals. Why, we know we've got bear and mountain lion and red fox, silver-tailed fox, all kinds of stuff that live on the property right now. 1965, a man by the name of John Wayne, the Duke himself, come up here, saw the property and bought some more land and gave it to us. This summer we'll have about 5,000 campers come through. And every year since 1954, the number's been going up. So you're up here to have fun. I think that's a good thing. But I hope that while you're up here, maybe you'll take some time, just like you are now, to be still. And hopefully nobody is talking the way I am. And you'll listen to the wind blow through and you'll start to think about something. The good Lord made all of this. And He gave it to us. I wonder why. Did He really want us to come down and cut down all the trees and kill off the animals? Or did he want us to come here and have fun, but maybe think about who gave us this and what he gave it to us for? That's what the Indians came up here for. A lot of people come up here for that. So I hope that while you're up here, while you're having a good time and you're making a noise like you like to do, maybe sometime during this week you'll stop and listen to the wind and look at the stars and think about why this is here and what you ought to be doing with it. Have a good time.
All right, guys, I know you're all here to have a good time, but while you're here in camp, you have to remember, be safe and watch out for what's around you. So we have a few rules that you want to follow while you're here in camp. Follow these and you're sure to have a good time. First one is no running, because when you're running in camp, this sort of thing happens.
It's break time.
Yeah, Fox and Hounds, only time you're allowed to run in camp. Otherwise, no running. Because this happens, and then we have to call the Also, while you're in camp, always wear closed-toed shoes. No flip-flops off the pool deck. That is the only place you're allowed to wear flip-flops. Pool deck, shower house, that's it. Because if you're wearing no shoes, this sort of thing can happen to you.
Hey, Rubens! Hey, Woodwicket!
Dude, I found this rock kind of cinder block kind of thing.
No way!
Yeah, it's so sick!
Ah!
Yeah, so we should play rock soccer with it.
Heck yeah!
Yeah, with no shoes.
Yeah! Ow! Ow! Ow!
And then we have to call Next, while you're here in camp, you want to drink lots and lots of water. Hydration is key to having a good time here. Because if you don't drink water, then this could be you.
So thirsty.
He looks dehydrated. We should call the Also, you don't want to throw things in camp while you're here. Because throwing things that don't have wings, that's a no-no. No wings, no flying. That does not give you permission to go to a handicraft shed and paint wings on it. No. No wings, no flying.
It's someone over there. Catch.
My leg!
Then we have to call the Also, we have animals here in camp. We have animals here in camp. Big ones, little ones, furry ones, bald ones, all sorts of animals. Don't play with them. They may look kind and cuddly. Don't play with them. Because if you play with animals, this could be you.
Night, night.
Bear!
I'm gonna poke you.
Then we have to call the... Also, if you're wandering around camp and you see a place that's wired or roped or caution taped off, it's either a high copes course or shooting range. So if you're just wandering around, you might just duck under a wire and... And then you're gonna have a bad day, and we have to call the... Just take him, guys. Just take him. Just take him.
I don't want to take him.
Just take him. Just take him. So, simple rules. You're guaranteed to have a good time in the day.
As many summer camps around the nation like to end their campfires with Vespers, it's a tradition here at Forest Lawn Scout Reservation that we end every campfire with them. We like to sing a verse and then hum a verse. If you guys know the words, please sing along.
Falls the light of day as our campfire fades away. Silently each scout should ask, have I done my daily task? Have I kept my honor bright? Can I guiltless sleep tonight? Have I done and have I dared everything to be prepared?
I hope you guys enjoyed our campfire tonight. I hope that all of you guys get back to your campsites safely and rest well for tomorrow's activities and classes tomorrow as well. As you're leaving, please leave silently. And with that, I hope you guys have a good night.
Wow.
Let's just wait until they all go.
Listen to him.
I just, oh my God. So my God.